Please put your hands together as we welcome Adhiraj Banerjee, a leader focused on building meaningful consumer and community experiences. Mr. Jatin Kataria, entrepreneur and ecosystem builder working closely with growth-focused ventures. Jimish Kapadia, a business leader passionate about creating sustainable community impact. Luandro Richard, an expert in community engagement and trust-driven growth models. And to moderate the panel, we have Mr. Prakash Hathi, a founder of Red Carpet, a respected voice in community-led business growth with us here today. So I welcome all of you on the stage, all the panelists and the moderator. Please walk up to the stage. And can we have a huge round of applause for them?
A very, very good evening, good afternoon to everybody. And thank you very much for being with us in the concluding session of this two-day fantastic event. With me today, I have Adhiraj Banerjee, I have Mr. Sanjay Sarda, I have Luandro, and a very, very diverse panel we have here. Today's topic on which we will deliberate, we will talk to all of you, is about building trust-based communities in Tier 2, Tier 3 cities. Sitting here in a city, a state, which has almost always pioneered the trust-based trade system, be it Hundi or Angadiya systems that works across Gujarat and outside, people doing business of crores, lakhs of diamonds just by tap of their hands and trusting each other. Sometimes we wonder that the communities have always existed in our city, our state, our country. Then why do we have to talk about these things in this open forum? If all of us have observed this trend very, very carefully, the organic communities have always existed. People who are here from Surat, across other cities, they would have observed, especially Tier 2, Tier 3 cities, would have observed that these communities are not intentionally built. They are organically built. अगर आप देखेंगे तो they are family businesses, family houses. They move in one circle. They are entrepreneurs. They have their own communities. They are funding guys. They are VCs. They are investors. However, a lot of times these circles are independent of each other. And that's why the enablers and beneficiaries sometimes do not come together. The question here, which the answer to these questions that we'll hear from our panel today is how do we break this chain? How do we bring all these people together so that a strong, effective, rather than organic communities are built, and then they can help the entrepreneurs to grow to the next level, to reach the scale that they want to. I have here all three panelists from different, very, very diverse backgrounds, which I realized while talking to them before. And all three of them have built communities, have enabled more people. Adhiraj, from an ecosystem or point of view of a VC, Sanjay, from a point of view of an enabler from not Tier 2 or Tier 3 city, but a place like Akola in Maharashtra, जिसको आप Tier 3 या Tier 4 city बोलेंगे, and that too very successfully. And Luandro here, who is based out of Bangalore and has had fantastic experiences in building communities in different cities. So I'll start with Adhiraj here. What is your take on community building at the places that you have worked in, which is the UK and Mumbai? And what are the challenges that you have faced there and advantages that you think the Tier 2, Tier 3 cities don't offer?
Thanks. That's a great question. So primarily, I'll come at it from a VC lens, because I think we have great community builders on the other side. But we were one of India's first domestic venture capital funds, like I told you earlier. And for us, building the community was essential to even do our business, because unless we had deal flow And we were representing a very, very small community of investors because mostly there were people from outside the country who were coming in and investing in Indian startups. We were the first wave of investors who had to go out and educate people across the country about startups being a viable place to go to, because usually earlier if you do a job or if you go to a good school, the typical first step, and I'm sure all of you also face the same thing at home, if you say I'm going to start a business, the risk aversion if you're coming from a middle class regular family is very, very high. So the possibility of you going out and starting a startup back then was very low. So for us, the education was not only to the entrepreneur community, we also had to go and speak to their families, because the first people who would be either a barrier or a boon to your startup story would be your immediate family, because they'll keep whispering in your ears. And then the third interesting thing that we faced, and of course there was a lot of resistance when we started, but the third interesting thing that we faced is that a lot of capital is in tier 2 and tier 3 cities, as opposed to, the metro cities have a lot of early investors, but tier 2 and tier 3 cities nowadays, a large amount of the LPs of HNIs who've invested in funds, in Series A funds, are people who have been in the tier 2 and tier 3 cities. I'll tell you a funny story. We were anchored by the IIT Alumni Trust. We were obviously regulated by the government. So we had to go around to Indian investors to invest in Indian startups, right? So we went out to tier 2, tier 3 cities. We went to textile companies. We went to a lot of traditional businesses and said, look, invest in technology startups, invest in new businesses. They're going to give you far more returns than any other real estate can. A lot of them said yes. I was very excited till they said, "Ab cash mein loge kya?" So
when was this? What is the timeline we're talking?
This was 2010. So a lot of them offered cash, which obviously as a fund we can't take cash, but there were cute little challenges that obviously we went through, but obviously history is in the making. We're sitting in Surat, in a place that's already built a community. So I'd be happy to reflect on it a little later.
That's a very interesting insight, which Surtis or a lot of Gujaratis face today also. Ki rokda, when we talk about payment, cash, check, things like that, right? Sanjay, please tell us your experience.
Thank you, Prakash. First of all, my name is Sanjay. You can see Jimish here. He's my colleague.
He had a plastic surgery before the...
Yeah. So I'm just replacing him since he had some emergency meeting somewhere. Basically, I represent Growth Sense, Growth 91, Growth Sense Venture Fund, Growth Sense Apex Fund, and another 15 companies all together supporting startups. Holding a complete startup ecosystem, and primarily started or registered in a tier 4 city and managing it from there. Of course, I have people around a lot of places, metro cities working for me. I have office in Ahmedabad as well, where team is working. But that's the exposure we have. And of course, although I come from tier 4 city, but I did my study from IIT Kharagpur, I am Ahmedabad, worked at Ernst & Young in US, had my large-scale manufacturing industries before coming to startup ecosystem and all this. So I know both the sides of journey and trust from both the angles. So what we are talking right now, trust or differentiated in trust or in community trust or in tier 1 and tier 3 kind of, what is the difference? Practically, there is no difference. It's like every product or every new instrument or every new scheme or something new comes up, it takes time to build that trust. Something which is coming up first in tier 1 city, the trust is built, then step by step it percolates down to other localities. So it just takes time. It is even as simple as like bank fixed deposits. Few years before, even everybody has doubt on fixed deposits, whether bank will be able to give the money back or not. Step by nowadays, the trust has built. Now there is no doubt. You don't think twice before putting the money in the bank for fixed deposit. The same is the case with startup ecosystem. Here people are giving money to entrepreneurs. again, when you compare tier 1 or tier 3 city, in tier 3 cities, probably you will find a lot of money. Money is not a problem. But giving money for equity is not a culture. That's why that trust needs to be built. If you want money on interest, a lot of money is available. Nobody will doubt on you and people will just give the money, you pay the interest and they are very happy. But the moment you say you are giving equity, that culture is not there. That's why it takes time to build that trust, prove that or communicate that what exactly the instrument is, what exactly it means in long terms, what is the risk involved, and it should be communicated properly. So that it takes more time, but the trust is improving. That's what we have seen in last decade.
Before I pass on the question to Leandro, I want to touch upon the same thing that Adhiraj mentioned. Being in a place like Akola or other places, even Ahmedabad, did you also face these fun little questions ke sab rokda leke jao because we don't have money or capital or on balance sheet to give you?
So we do face these questions even today, but the percentage is very less. We have to very systematically tell them, and we convince people. Somebody is coming saying, take cash. We don't say no. Of course, we don't take. But what we say, if you give me cash, the risk is higher.
Right.
Because what document you will get? Nothing. And you are investing for a very, very longer tenure and you want equity in the company. So you need everything documented. So it is in your interest to give money in check.
Of course.
And if we convince that way, people are very happy to change their mindset, changing from cash to check. Because they understand their security, their safety.
Sure. Leandro, your take, please.
Check. Great. So, hi everybody. Good evening. Right. So they had told us a little bit more on the capital side, so a little bit more on the community side, but before that, of what High Table also does, right? So we are a knowledge platform, and we are a community and a VC, right? So our founder is also here. So the gap that we found in the ecosystem was this, right? So there are startup leaders, there are VCs, there are, when you come down, right? So there are service providers. And when you look at how everybody talks to each other, there is some stagnancy at one point of time, right? So what we wanted to solve was that. And that is what we are doing currently, right? So with the startups, we help them in their GTM and fundraising part. We also work very closely with VCs. And we are trying to solve the gap in the ecosystem. So probably when we are talking more, I would want to share more of what we do as a community.
As what you have seen, all of you, in the ecosystem or the companies or the investors you have worked with or you are currently working with, what are the specific set of challenges that differ very widely in metros or organized markets and in tier 2, tier 3 cities where primarily the people know each other, trust each other, and do business with each other? Sanjay, what is your take on this, please?
So I will just split it from two angles. One is from founders' perspective and from the investors' perspective. So if I see the founders in tier 1 city and tier 2, tier 3 or below, the difference is their exposure to the world. See, what in general, I mean, it is not for the founder, it is true for everybody. You are average of 5 or 10 people around you. So, I mean, what environment you study, what environment you live, what environment you everyday interact, that's how you set your vision. If somebody has never seen an expressway, he will never think about having expressways everywhere. Somebody every day travels by flight, I mean, he will just imagine that is the minimum requirement to travel. So the vision setting is a differentiator, what we find from founder from different geographies. So that something the founder needs to work and improve with a personal additional efforts. If I see the same thing from investor's angle, again, same thing applies. Whatever kind of investment opportunities you have seen, or whatever your friends or colleague have invested in earlier, whether they failed or successful, you set your benchmarks accordingly. So if you go into tier 1 cities, you will find people who are okay to take higher risk as compared to tier 3 or 4 cities. Secondly, virtual things are acceptable in tier 1, not in tier 4. For example, people in tier 4 or tier 3 cities will be very happy to invest anything and everything in real estate because they want to see that property in front of their eyes.
Right. It is tangible.
They don't care whether that will give return or not. But every day morning, if that property is visible, people are happy to invest. But if you go into tier 1, probably that culture is changed. They don't care whether my property is visible or not. Somebody sitting in Mumbai, he will happily invest in Bangalore. He will never think twice. But somebody sitting in tier 4 city, even if great opportunity is available, he will take a little less of smaller opportunity, but invest in a property which is visible every day. So the mindset is different, especially from point of view of taking the risk or perceiving the risk.
So what the kind of thing that you are saying is ingrained in them in the overall culture, right? Rather than just taking investment as a specific case, that they trust what is in front of them, they trust the familiarity. However, people who are more exposed to technology, trusting, let's say, the systems, the documentation, are more comfortable, even going outside their domain or geographical boundaries and investing.
Very true. But again, nothing can be, this is like broadly a general thing I told you. If you take average of 100 investors in tier 1 and 100 investors in tier 4, this is what is correct. You will find exceptions everywhere. But in general, this is true.
This is the trend. Adhiraj, since you have worked in primarily mature markets, or you have seen the markets mature in front of you in all these years, what difference do you feel was back then and now? What all things have improved, number one, and where do you think people are more cautious now in terms of investing?
Okay, so I think each cycle of innovation comes with a call of change, right? So when we started, the first cycle of innovation was how do we digitize basic products. Simple innovation at that point was gaining great value, right? Even just taking photographs of a menu and uploading it on the internet was enough to be able to, garner value, aka Zomato. That then moved to, obviously, how do you then use technology to enable a business function? So whether it was home services or cabs or whatever, how do you use this great tool of communication to be able to enable that kind of a business, right? The third layer, which was again recent, is everybody jumped on this agentic AI and how do you use autonomous computing and AI to travel that forward, and how do you create the foundational building blocks of technology? That was wave 3. Wave 4, now we are at a point where, and I heard this, I don't know, Pawan, who had said it, but somebody just said that every AI company is now just an API, right? That whole wave that everybody was chasing, technology valuations and crazy valuations, now it's suddenly dwindling because an agent can do everything that your SaaS company was supposed to do. So now India is face to face with a very unique challenge, right? We were known to be the cradle for AI. We were known to be the cradle for technology. Ignoring the fact that we have a large demographic that the whole world wants to come to sell their products, we ignored that. We thought that we'll build technology for the world. Suddenly that whole notion of valuation has got disrupted. The next phase of innovation, and probably that's a recognition in a lot of founders, is that if you think of global companies, right, Indian companies that have gone global, you can't name very many. I mean, other than the ITS, BPO companies. Because probably our own demographics, economic demand is so high, we focus internally, right? Now we've come to a point where a lot of founders and a lot of investors are looking for product companies. Can somebody create good designed, good products, servicing the demographic that's in India. Because if you look at the consumer sentiment also, everybody's looking at more aesthetically pleasing products. Consumerism has become better, our personal disposable income's gone higher. So people want to, India's consumption, has gone up. They're more conscious in their consumption. So this model, and probably this is going to be the biggest change for India going forward, is that now Indian entrepreneurs are going to stop trying to take code from GitHub and put a layer on top and sell it as a startup. And I've seen the change already. About 5 years ago, if I went to a startup conference, there would be clone startups. They'd pick GitHub code and then try and show that, this is my startup, I do this with a different layer. And there'd be at least 3 other startups that are saying the exact same thing. This time when I'm going to startup events, and even in this thing that happened on the ground floor, there are actual hardware, there are actual products. People are actually getting into understanding manufacturing, understanding how to distribute it. And if India can go in that direction, if founders can actually escape this mindset of chasing valuation but chasing value, creating value, then India has enough of a large market to be able to disrupt the rest of the world with great products. And if we can build for India, build the right way, with the right design, we will make a global product without a doubt. That's, I think, the next trend.
Fantastic. That is a big, big insight that the entrepreneurs, the businessmen, the startups can take from him. Luandro, before earlier today, we were talking about your experiences of hosting the community meets, and you talked about stark differences between what you experienced in metros and tier 2 cities. Let's please share that part and throw some light on the differences between both of them.
Sure, thanks. So this year we wanted to do something very different, right? So what we wanted to see was, we said, okay, let's go and meet people, right? Let's interact with everybody. So we thought of meeting with people, and we started off in Mumbai. So how a community meetup happens from a metro to a tier 2 city is completely different, right? I'm going to share more lights on tier 2 than on tier 1, because most of us should be aware of what happens in a tier 1 city, right? So you invite people, and it is out on ads. People see it. Everybody invites somebody else, right? So there is a good exposure. But we did 2 events. One was in Mumbai, followed by another one in Bangalore. So after these, right, we wanted to see how is the response in a tier 2 city. So we thought, okay, let's do something cool. Let's go up north and let's go down south. So we did 2 mixers, right? So one was in Surat itself, we did, beginning of this year. And another one was in Coimbatore that we did. Right? So both are tier 2 cities that we look at. So some interesting things that we found were these, right? So the hotel in which we were doing it, obviously Star Hotel, and we thought, okay, let's do it cool. We did it on the rooftop. And the hotel manager walks in, right? And he was the F&B director. He says, how many people are you guys expecting? I tell him a number. I'm looking at doing a small crowd. So I'm somewhere around 45 to 50 folks. And he's like, I don't think that is going to happen, right? Because it is a different space, and it doesn't happen like that here.
Okay, and which one was this? This was Surat?
I'm sharing both mixed experience. And
common experience.
Yeah. It was the same in both places, right? That's the feedback which we got even from the hotels, right? And the organizer, the folks helping us in organizing as well. So, and what happened was we tried to do it very differently, right? So when community building happens, especially in a tier 2 city, first thing that comes is credibility, right? Second thing is trust. So there are a lot of founders, entrepreneurs, leaders who are there within a community. We spoke to them. We got them in, right? So that was one. And the second thing is the word being shared from within the community, right? So they called a friend, and a friend comes in. So like that, in Coimbatore and Surat, from the numbers we expected, we had 2x people who had come in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And one interesting thing that I would want to highlight was this, right? So I was standing and there came an elderly gentleman who walked in, and he was staring at what and all was happening. He looked a little bit off. So I was asking him, sir, hi, what are you doing and everything? And he told me, my friend invited me here, right? So I'm here and I want to see what is happening. And then he asked me, what is the agenda here? I told him, there is no agenda, sir. The agenda itself is no agenda, right? So that's how you make it very, very informal, where people come, connect, share about their ideas, share about their thoughts, share about their pain points, etc., and speak it out. So this person interestingly told me that he was one of the industrialists there and who had launched a vertical mill in the city, which was worth a couple of thousand crores, right? So that was the difference that we saw. And in Surat, something very interestingly that we saw again was, there are a lot of people who came in, right? And when they started talking, everybody knows everybody here.
That's right.
In a Tier 2 city.
That's the city.
So what happened was, one person is talking to the other person, stating that, hey, I'm looking at creating something digital now. So what do I do? So suddenly, a cousin of his comes in, and he's like, I am doing it, right? So people started engaging like that, and that made a lot of difference.
So people who already knew each other but were not connected or not doing business together, they got together with that specific intent of working and scaling up, right?
Correct. So that was very nice, actually. They started talking more about it. They started introducing their friends, right? So it was family and friends. It turned out to be like that, which was very interesting.
So tell me how, when these communities are formed, okay, you have startup community that you engage with, right? Tell us about that. How big is it? What is the kind of demographics? Where is it? Where are the people based out of? And how do you kind of get to, get them to talk to each other on business terms, get to benefit from each other in terms of investing or getting funds? How do you scale? How do you achieve that goal?
Great. So I'll answer it in 2 pointers, right? So one is, we have been consistent, right? So it's been like 2 to 3 years that we have been doing this. That is one. And next thing, how we have done it is, in the community, we have close to over 1,000 startup founders. We have GCC leaders, right? We have VCs, we have family offices. Everybody is a part of the community, right? So, and when a mixer is hosted and when an event is hosted, it is not that, hey, this is a particular topic, I'm going to talk about only these people. No, it doesn't happen that way. It is open. I want everybody to come in, right? That is what is the change. That is what is a deal breaker, especially when it comes to communities. And that has helped us to reach where we are.
To take it further.
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, just a quick round of feedback from the audience. How many of you are from Surat or Tier 2, Tier 3 cities and here in the hall? Please raise your hands. Okay, thank you. Enough numbers here. Okay, we have the right kind of audience जिनके लिए हमारा ये panel था. Okay, I'm making it slightly difficult for Luandro because he has confessed to me earlier कि ना तो I don't know anything in Hindi. So earlier we had thought we'll go ahead with all Hindi and all Gujarati, but we are kind to him. So I want a feedback from all three of you in terms of some specific things that you have to tell people who are based in Tier 2 or Tier 3 cities. Adhiraj, from you, something to tell the investors or people who are looking to deploy the fund in the right kind of opportunities. Sanjay, from you, to some advice, some specific pointers to people who are looking to scale up, raise fund, connect with the enablers, so to say. And Luandro, from you, how to take advantage of the communities and how to break away from organic and passive communities to something which is goal-oriented and can take them further. We start with you, Adhiraj.
So I was just to set context, interestingly, 50% of all Indian startups that were registered were from tier 2, tier 3, and tier 4 cities, right? 50% are from tier 1, which is kind of probably the skew is becoming better, because about 5-6 years ago, it would be 10% to 90% in places like Bangalore, spoiled people like him having a good community in Bangalore, right? So now there are more startups coming out from different places. One really encouraging fact that I read was that 50% of all startups in tier 2 cities have women co-founders.
Okay.
Right, so that is a phenomenal step forward, and that's a great kudos to our tier 2, tier 3 startups, because seeing that kind of diversity, true innovation can only happen when you embrace as much diversity as you can, and that's a testimony to the fact that there is kind of more inclusion, and it's becoming a more advanced innovation model in tier 2 and tier 3 cities. My advice to tier 2 and tier 3 city investors is what you had asked me, is be realistic. I've seen that early stage investors, if they're investing in startups, will try and take too much equity straight up because they feel, like I think he had rightly said, the spy, because obviously he's somebody else. This is
Sanjay.
Guspeti, is he really part of the panel?
Oh, yes, just the right one.
Yeah, so look, like you rightly said, getting money on interest is easy, and people, I think in tier 3 cities will look at giving high interests to early stage startups, and they can't afford to service that kind of debt at that stage. And also, it's counterintuitive if you're an investor trying to take too much equity in the first time. I've seen people who've come to us who've got investments from large business houses, like probably creating an ERP for a textile company, and they'll come and show me the cap table where 80% of their equity is with the textile company, and the founders are left with 20, or they take a disproportionately high amount of equity because they feel they're at a vantage point because they don't have enough of a network to go out and raise more capital. My advice to investors is be rational when you're taking equity, and it's very logical. It's not that it's the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do. If you take that disproportionate amount of equity in a startup to start with, the follow-on rounds become impossible. So your money will become a dormant thing in that startup, because any follow-on investor will want the co-founders to be incentivized, not the first investor. So, sure. I've passed on a lot of deals that have come to me with that disproportionate angle. And the second thing that I would advise investors is be patient, be empathetic. A lot of us, the minute an economic transaction happens, for some reason a power transaction also happens, yes. where you assume that you are a superior just because you've given somebody money. That's absolutely not true. And even to the startups, when you're looking for capital, keep in mind that you're not going to a superior to ask for capital. You're trading off something of your value to get that capital. So he's a business partner, not a teacher or a principal who can ask you questions about your startup, right? So I think that equation, just because capital changes hands doesn't mean the power equation needs to change hands. It is, in fact, the opposite way, because if you mess up, he's never getting his investment back, right? So that would be my second advice to investors, that don't invest from a place of hierarchy. Don't talk down to startups. They're taking your money. If you actually believe in the investment that you've made, treat them as business partners and not as somebody that you've done charity to. You've obviously not done charity. You're looking for returns. So there's no need for that shift of power just because you've made a capital transaction.
Excellent. Some people overdo in terms of giving equity. Great. Sanjay, please.
So you asked from the point of view of founders and investors from the tier 2, right. Tier 3 city, right? So let's talk first from the founder's point of view. If you are a founder from a smaller city, let's say, doesn't matter. Ensure that either your vision is already at par with tier 1 founder or bigger than that. If not, do the right things to align your vision to that level. That is first important thing. Doesn't matter from where you are doing the business. Your end goal should be bigger. That is basic minimum requirement. Secondly, doesn't matter from where you are working, but your customer should be global. Don't target people or don't develop product or services which you want to sell in your city. I mean, of course, sell there, but have a bigger vision. Your audience or your customer should be global. So that will absolutely change the differentiator. Second is, just don't do the business for taking money. Nowadays, I mean, as you just mentioned, I mean, there are more than 2 lakh odd startups registered on Government of India portal. But trust me, half of them are just registered to take money. And money means their need is very small, 5 lakh rupees grant, 10 lakh rupees grant. They are very happy with it. And a large group of consultants are working for that. I mean, actually working for that. And their business is that only. They arrange 5 lakh rupees grant, take X money and then close it. And that business never flourishes. That's their aim is that only. So I discount all these people. Somebody who is actually reaching the right set of investors, right qualified investors, and they are betting on him, then there is a possibility of growing. So good numbers are still not 2 lakh, I mean a little less than that. But at the same time, if you are a good founder, be passionate with what you are doing, and most importantly, ensure genuinely that your skin is in the game. It's not that, I mean, you are there, if it is successful, I will do, if not, I will take the money, burn the money and go. That should not be the mindset. And then there won't be any differentiator. Now I talk from the investor's angle. It doesn't matter, I mean, of course, there will be some variations, but don't only judge the founder based on from where the founder belongs. See the certain basic qualities what you look into the founder. Couple of qualities what we look is whether the genuinely somebody's skin in the game is there or not, the person is committed or not, whether the vision, alignment or thought process is doing the business or raising second round and retaining the money. And another thing is whether the founder is coachable or not. Especially when we talk about tier 2, tier 3 cities, naturally I assume every investor is looking for early stage opportunities, right? I mean, for the initial investment, you are not directly investing in unicorn. You are investing in very early stage founders. So the basic minimum quality is the founder should be coachable. I'll just share quickly one example. I mean, we have betted on one very, very young founder. He has a stall also here, yesterday and today. Yesterday I visited the stall. He came with 100% preparation with his strategy, everything aligned. And some interesting suggestions we gave him. Like, I mean, why don't you change your strategy? Outright different thing. I mean, don't even attract people to your stall. Do something different. Told him, explained him, he liked it. Within 15 minutes, he implemented it.
Wonderful.
And today, during lunch, I talked to him, what is the result? He said, I got 25 new clients and all clutter was removed. I only got the right audience and almost everybody was converted. So the coachability matters. Right. And that decides that founder will go long way or not. So as an investor, we should always see whether the founder is a right fit or not. Of course, there will be some weightage to city, but I mean, major weightage should go to their approach, their credibility, their vision, their background, their commitment, whether they have a fire in the belly or not, passion or not. All these things matter.
These are the things that should be seen. To Andrew?
So from the point of an individual in a community or somebody who is building a community and how the community can be strengthened and the people in it, right? So from our learnings, what I would suggest is the CC way, right? First is credibility, and the second thing is consistency, right? So the first 10 people in the community matters. They are going to be there always. They are going to help always. If there is a question, if there is a help required, they are available. That is one. And next thing is consistency, right? So I plan to meet once a month. All of us come together once a month. We meet. If there are any help items required, we are chatting over it, we are talking over it, we can do that. We can make it even more informal, chai meetups, right? So we can make it very informal like that. That makes a lot of people connect, and that is what it takes to strengthen the community.
So credibility, consistency, these are the two mantras that you give. A quick round of some fast questions for all three of you. Okay, will not take too long now. I was talking to all you guys earlier and कुछ bullet points मेरे पास आए. What do you think is the bottleneck right now for tier 2, tier 3 people to go further? Is it the vision or is it the talent that most people talk about? Talent नहीं है, लोग नहीं है. What do you think? Vision, talent? Anybody can start.
Of course, vision. Talent is not a problem anywhere. And
Not even in
especially
smaller
a tier 2, tier 3 city, I mean, you get manpower or human resources at a very, 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 very reasonable cost.
But skill levels are also fine. Skill levels are
Skill
also
levels
great.
are always available. But vision is important.
Right. Adhiraj?
I think neither. I think tier 2, tier 3 founders that I've met have had great vision, have got great talent. I think the problem is the community that's not supporting them, right? Like in Bangalore, if somebody says that they want to be a startup, the whole community will support them to be a startup. Unfortunately, if a tier 4 city person says that I want to start a startup, everybody, their neighbor and their uncle will come and say, don't start a startup, go do a government job. That's the problem. It's not the founders.
Sure. You want to?
I would say do not compare with a Taiwan city, right? Because it is slightly different and you are very good when it comes to doing things your way. So I would say do it your way.
So play your own game rather than looking at others. Perfect. And just the last question because we are really out of time. Sorry? Yeah, just last question before you take that one. Any specific thing for which all three of you would be open to any interaction, any approach from people who have heard you, who are in the room? Anything specific that you think, hey, if this is the case, come to me and I'll help you out?
Sure. So anything when it comes to scaling your company, anything when it comes to fundraising, you can definitely reach out to us. Our team is also here, and we would love to have a chat and see what best we can do.
Perfect. Thank you. Sanjay?
Just ask yourself, I mean, are you 100% committed to your vision and your business? If yes, please do come to us.
Thank you. Adhiraj?
Even if you're not 100% convinced about your idea, come to me. I'll see that your idea gets done. Okay, just don't bother. But one shout out: we're also the first. If there are any military veterans in the room or anybody working on homeland security and defense, we've started the first military veteran program because that's the most underutilized resource that our country has. So if you know any military veteran in your network who's looking for funding, please reach out to me.
Great. Thank you very much, all three of you. I'm sure we have a lot of time constraints here. 1-2 questions, just 1-2 maybe. That's it. Anybody? Anybody from the room?
Hi, I'm Deep Thakrar. I'm from Bombay, and I come from the brand side. But very recently, like a year and a half ago, we shifted to the manufacturing end of it, and we're now doubling down on that. Me and my co-founder, he's not here, but we have been for the last 1 year talking about building a community of founders in Bombay, like-minded young founders that want their problems to be solved and then basically connect them, right? Do you think community building for a B2B business, besides yes, it helps the ecosystem and it helps everyone grow, does it as a B2B company, does it help me grow my business in any sense? And do you think that's a step we should take and put that effort in and time in and possibly also a little bit of money? Do you think we should do that?
Who would want to take the question? Anybody specific
fine.
you want to ask? Okay.
Not really, anyone.
No. So I'll just, whatever I understood. So while building a community or thinking to build a community, just list down what exactly you want to give. If your thought is taking back something, then don't build a community. Communities are built to giving back. Giving to people, giving to communities, giving to the recipient. Returns will come in abundance, but I mean, focus, vision should be giving.
No, of course, I get that. But at the end of the day, if we're putting an X amount of efforts and time from our limited resources that we have, yes, the main primary motive is to give back and help everyone around us as we can. But do you think at this stage, 1 year down, should we invest in it was really my question.
No, that's what I'm saying. So, see, your investment should be with a mindset that I don't want ROI from that investment. If you are building a community, if that calculation starts from day one, probably you will never be able to build large community, because after a few days you will come back to ROI, returns, and that will not work. Communities are built as a giving back to society or as a pro bono. It will give back to you again. But I mean, don't expect that while building or making a business plan. That's my understanding on reviewing many communities.
I think Adiraj also wants to speak. I'd love to hear your opinion as well.
So, quick opening line. You know, the biggest portfolio or the highest value of portfolio in the world in the investment community is Y Combinator.
Yeah.
Y Combinator is a community.
Right.
So that proves point one wrong, that I think you can, if you put the right intention behind it, you create the right vibe, I think you can create something substantial. Indian Angel Networks was another great community, right? And now they're a very, very large fund. TIE is a big community, and they've also had a lot of collateral, benefits. But rather than just, I mean, if you're looking at creating a community for a business, then there's a large space for it. 100% there's a big space for it, because people are hungry for communities. People want authentic communities to have authentic conversations with. And also bear in mind that some communities may not, like, one is the business side of it, but the stuff that you take away in terms of the conversations, in terms of the connects that you will build for your future, I think it's a good thing to do anyway, rather than going to a bar and, like he said, have chai. Rather than going to a bar and having chai, I think it's a better use of your time.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you very much. One last question, please. Right behind you.
So hello everyone, I'm Malhar, I'm 19 and I'm in a college in Dhirubhai Ambani. The thing is, I started my entrepreneurial journey. I currently provide AI automation and website services to clients. So the thing is, I started with B2B because I feel that's easier in India. But a question I had was, with my limited experience of B2B, what I feel is, like in D2C, the marketing is hard but obvious. You have meta channels, you have ad agencies, and you have a lot of options. But for B2B, to acquire clients, there are ways like community and referrals. But like I'm thinking of a B2B pipeline for acquiring clients. Is there anything that anyone of you can tell me?
No, so you have to have a strategy based on whatever you want to do it. And again, there is no fixed rule. I mean, if you take WhatsApp as an example, I mean, you can consider B2C. Right? They did not spend a lot of money. They made a big enterprise. So, I mean, have a right value proposition. I mean, it's not always true that you have to burn money for B2C. Relatively, you may have to spend more, but it is not a rule that you have to burn money. What is the value in your product or service? That is important for whether it is B2B or B2C. And make a value proposition from the recipient's point of view, what the person will receive. Let them decide what to pay for that. And if your value is more, they will pay more. Focus on that.
Okay, thank you, sir, for that. I just had an add-on, like the thing I was asking was, is there a strategy for acquiring clients in B2B, like a pipe? Because marketing to B2B, I'm asking for that. If anyone of
I think that could be a very long discussion. Maybe you can interact with any one of us later for a couple of hours conversation. I mean, that will be sufficient.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Thank you, Malhar. Thank you very much, Leandro. Thank you very much. Okay, one more question. Where?
He had his hand up for a long time.
Okay, sir.
This one would be the last one. Yeah.
Sure.
Hello, myself I'm Tejas Gandhi. I'm coming from a small town like Billimora. I have got multiple startup projects, but I don't have any person who can help me out. Any one person who can help me out. I have got energy project, I have got IT project, but I don't have any person who can help me out. How could you help me out?
What help do you need?
Investment, angel investment or venture capitalist.
Talk to Asif. He's
Sir,
here
I think we should meet after this and have a detailed conversation.
yeah, I think
We'll
he's
see,
the
yeah,
right guy. Yeah.
How we can help you out there.
I'll just quickly add, just imagine tomorrow morning you will win $1 billion lottery. Will you invest all your money on this idea what you have? If yes, please do approach us.
Hello. I am creating things. I'm not making money on the spot. I'm creating things, so it will take time. But I'm 100% sure that I will make you profitable business.
Correct, sir. That's exactly what I said. I mean, imagine if you have your own money, will you bet on your idea? If that conviction is there, there are hundreds and thousands of investors are there who will bet on it.
I am from middle class family. I don't have money. That's the main issue.
Sir, I think the stage at which you are in terms of idea and execution, a little more thought process and groundwork is needed. As Leandro rightly pointed out, you can communicate with him, be in touch with him, and probably a little more formulation of the thoughts where the projects are going to, what will happen to them in future. If those things are chalked out, it will give you a better clarity. Right? Thank you very much.
You have a customer, huh, Bombay boy.
I understand we have a lot of questions, but we have a few more sessions to go. So I would genuinely ask you to please connect with them. They'll be here around, so you can go and ask them personally. Thank you so much for such a wonderful session, leaving our audience so curious and engrossed. Thank you so much, all of you. And to felicitate them, I would like to call CA Harishankarji Toshniwal on the stage, please.
दुनिया के नक्शे पर हम 21 72 छा जाएंगे